Man, let's be real for a sec. It's never been tougher to keep your head straight and focus on what truly matters. We're living in a time where our attention is constantly being hijacked by all sorts of flashy stuff, right? I mean, most of us have the attention span of a goldfish, and without even realizing it, we're frying our brains and wrecking our ability to stay focused. But here's the kicker. With just a pinch of discipline and a solid work ethic, you can totally outperform 90% of the crowd. Seriously, your success today is all about mastering your impulses, especially the sexual ones. Now, let's talk about the first step to getting your mind off that sexual roller coaster. It all starts with that screen you're glued to. In Buddhism, we know that whatever we focus on, it grows. Pretty deep, huh? So in neuroscience, it's the same deal. Focusing on screens in this detached, third-person way is like a fast track to issues like erectile dysfunction, especially in younger folks. Yeah, it's a big problem, but there's more to it. The real kicker with porn is that it's got this trifecta of unlimited novelty, easy access, and instant gratification. No effort needed. And that's a dangerous combo, my friend. It pushes us to chase more just to feel normal again. Those dopamine hits from porn, they're followed by a crash, leaving you craving more and something new every time. Next up, if you're really serious about getting your brain back on track, you gotta quit chasing casual sex and external validation from others. It's like trying to fill a void with stuff that doesn't even matter, you know? This behavior gets drilled into us from an early age, thanks to Hollywood and all that. We're fed this idea that a guy's lucky if he gets the girl, like it's some kind of victory. But hold on, why is it just a win for the guy? Isn't it about both people? It's all about perspective, man, and Buddhism teaches us to see beyond these superficial wins and losses. So let's flip the script, focus on what truly matters, and start living in a way that's aligned with our inner peace and wisdom. It's not easy, but nothing worth having ever is, right? Hey, if you're digging this content and want to keep growing alongside us, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out. And if you're feeling extra generous, consider becoming a member to support the channel. Every little bit helps us keep bringing you the content that matters. Thanks for being here, and let's keep this journey going together. Let's break it down, folks. Your biggest sexual organ? It's not what you might think. It's your brain, seriously. I hear from so many people struggling with erectile dysfunction these days, and yeah, it's not just older guys anymore. A lot of young men are turning to medication for it. But here's the thing. A big chunk of the problem is psychological. We've got two branches in our autonomic nervous system, which are totally out of our control. Well, mostly, unless you're into some serious breathing techniques, but that's another story. The sympathetic branch? That's what gets you to the finish line, aka ejaculation. And then there's the parasympathetic branch, which is all about getting the engine started, erection. These two, completely different triggers. Now, here's where things get tricky. When you're chasing after pleasure, especially with a side of porn, you're not really soaking in the moment. You're just fixated on hitting the goal. And this whole outcome-driven mindset, it's like setting yourself up for anxiety, weak erections, or even premature ejaculation. It's a head game, man, and it's all about reframing how you think. But no joke, this can take years to undo because your brain's been hardwired by that screen, stuck in third-person mode without the real deal like the other senses or hormones coming into play. And here's the kicker. The person you're most obsessed with? Yeah, you're probably pushing them away without even realizing it. We're wired to sense when someone's got an agenda, when they're wanting something from us. So the best way to approach any relationship, whether it's social, romantic, or professional, is by thinking about how you can add value. Always focus on what you can bring to the table. This mindset not only makes you more secure, but it also gives you power. Because when you know your worth, if the other person isn't interested anymore, that's on them, not you. Before we dive in, I just want to mention that I've left a list of 4 incredible books in the description below. These are real game changers when it comes to personal development. They've helped me a ton in my own journey, and I think they'll resonate with what we're talking about today. So, after the video, make sure to check them out if you're serious about leveling up. Now, let's get into it. All right, let's dig into this a bit. There's a reason why so many religions give a hard pass on chasing gratification through sex. It's not just about morality or rules. It's because when people get caught up in this, they often ditch productive activities and start acting like addicts. It's just like any other addictive behavior, right? The thing is, ejaculation isn't just some random urge. It's hardwired into us, just like the need to survive. It's all about that drive to reproduce and pass on our genes, this deep-seated survival program that's been running the show since forever. But here's where it gets tricky. When you keep chasing those dopamine highs, you're setting yourself up for a wild ride of peaks and crashes. Those spikes of dopamine might feel good in the moment, but they leave you stuck in this cycle of needing more just to feel normal again. What you really want to do is aim for a steady, tonic release of dopamine, a slow and steady kind of motivation that keeps you going, especially for stuff that takes real effort and doesn't give you that quick hit of gratification. Making this shift, it'll flip your whole perspective. You'll start seeing people differently, and you won't be driven by that dopamine rush like most folks are. If you're after something that nobody else has, you've got to be willing to do what nobody else is doing. Let's be real. Most guys are glued to their screens, chasing pleasure wherever they can find it. And you know what? People can sense it. It's like a neon sign flashing inefficient. I'm not here to preach, but seriously, it's just not the best way to go about things. The most counterproductive way to connect with others, whether it's with a potential partner, a friend, or even a business connection, is through this dopamine-driven chase. Us humans, we're crazy good at reading faces, way better than we are at picking up on words. We can tell when someone's after something from us, and I'm betting you felt that too. I had wanted to start recording videos for a long time, but I just couldn't get over the embarrassment of putting myself out there. It was like there was this disconnect between the version of me that everyone saw and who I really was when nobody was watching. That's the thing with pornography. It messes with your identity. You end up doing one thing in secret while presenting a totally different face to the world. And that creates this inner conflict. According to neuroscience, it takes about 60 days to make real changes in your brain and shift your habits. I tried quitting porn before, but every time I did, I just end up turning to masturbation or casual sex. So I made the call to cut everything out completely. I went 100 days without any sexual stimulation, and something really shifted around that 100-day mark. I finally started recording videos. It was like my motivation changed because I wasn't chasing after pleasure anymore. This dopamine fast helped me get my motivation in check, letting me focus on what really mattered. Sexualizing your brain is way more addictive than most people realize. The drive to reproduce is almost as powerful as the will to survive, which is why it hits our emotions so hard. There's a part of your brain called the anterior cingulate cortex, and it's in charge of willpower and the will to live. When you resist doing something you really want to do, but know you should quit, like saying no to that sugary treat, this part of your brain gets stronger over time, boosting your resilience and willpower. The same thing happens when you push yourself to do something you don't really want to do, but you know it's good for you, like exercising. Studies have shown that aerobic exercise actually increases the size of the anterior cingulate cortex in athletes. They have stronger ones too. The key is to stay as detached as possible. The more you let go of the outcome, the less your sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for ejaculation, gets triggered. That detachment helps you stay focused, relaxed, and in the zone, whether it's for better erections, digestion, or just overall mental clarity. There's something really powerful about focusing on the process instead of just chasing the result. When someone's genuinely detached from the outcome, it's like they radiate this magnetic vibe that others can't help but notice. But here's the catch. It has to be real, not just some act. So how do you get there? It's all about cognitive reframing, looking at life from a bigger picture. I mean, we're all going to die someday, right? So do these things we stress over really matter? Is this endless chase for quick pleasure just an illusion? We're living in a world full of these dopamine traps, but is it really worth it? Are you genuinely happy? These are the kinds of questions you need to sit with. Maybe even jot down if you're feeling stuck. When you start letting go of this need for instant gratification, your focus naturally shifts to what you actually want in life. See, dopamine isn't about the pleasure itself, it's about the thrill of the chase. Neuroendocrinologist Robert Sapolsky talks about how the less you indulge in effortless pleasures, the more you train your brain to value the process over the quick hit. And it gives you this unexplainable aura that people pick up on without even realizing it. Everything you do in private, all those little habits, they shape how you move through the world, how you carry yourself, and how confident you feel. So, how did I pull this off? I cut out all sexual stimuli for 90 days. It reminds me of that scene in The Matrix where the villain's deep into the illusion, soaking up all the fake pleasures, saying, "Ignorance is bliss." Sure, it might feel good in the short run, but long term, it just breeds unhappiness and frustration. The best time to start desexualizing your brain was 10 years ago, but the second best time is right now. Believe it or not, it's more possible than you think to create the life you really want. But here's the thing, time flies faster than we expect. People get into relationships out of loneliness or have kids without really thinking it through, and that can lead to a whole mess of issues. I'm telling you this because I want you to be happy, to achieve what you really want out of life, maybe even leave a legacy. But hey, if that's not your thing, that's totally fine too. Everyone's got their own path to walk. Honestly, the only way I managed to quit pornography for more than 2 years was by cutting out all sexual stimuli. Cold turkey. It was like hitting the reset button on my brain's neuroplasticity, and it completely changed the way I interacted with people. Here's the thing. Deep down, everyone wants this kind of freedom, but hardly anyone's ready to put in the work. If you're after something that nobody else has, you've got to be willing to do what nobody else is willing to do. Desexualizing your brain, that's the game changer that'll set you apart from the crowd, no doubt. All right, folks, that's a wrap. I really appreciate you sticking around and watching all the way to the end. It's not easy to dive into topics like this, but taking control of your mind and your habits, that's what's going to set you apart from the rest. If you found any value in what we talked about today, do me a favor, hit that like button, and if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and do that too. It really helps the channel out now, and it means we can keep having these conversations. And hey, if you know someone who could benefit from this, don't keep it to yourself, send them this video. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.